Hi everyone, I'm Joanne with Newegg TV. I'm here to do an overview on this Corsair Obsidian Series 450D mid-tower computer case. Here's a 360 look at the case, and Corsair has once again graced us with another very sleek looking, clean, trim looking case. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the dimensions first. It measures 210 millimeters wide or 8.3 inches, 494 millimeters tall or 19.5 inches, and it is 497 millimeters deep or 19.6 inches. And the front of the case is lined in aluminum, which is a very nice touch. We're going to go ahead and start off at the top. You have a rather large power button with LEDs flanking either side, and below that, headphone mic jacks, small reset button, two USB 3.0 ports, and beneath that you get two 5¼ inch drive bays. You just pinch out the tabs on the inside so the cover will come right off. And beneath that we get some mesh ventilation, and this front cover actually pops off quite easily. It's a push design, so just push these two corners here and boom, here it goes, but do not yank it out, please do not. Simply lift it. And there we have it. The mesh is on the other side to help capture dust and all that good stuff. And behind it, you get the two pre-installed 140 millimeter AF fans. However, there are mounting points for two 120s if those are the fans you prefer. And there's a radiator. Actually, you can mount a radiator in the front if you remove the drive cage and the piece that it sits on. You'll be able to include a radiator of up to 280 millimeters up in the front. Now, moving right along, you get a nice large windowed side panel. I especially like those because I like to see what I put inside of my PC. And also red LED indicators light show me what's wrong with it. And on the rear, you got another pre-installed, this time 120 millimeter AF fan. This is the rear exhaust. Those two are the front intakes, of course. And beneath that, holes to route your cables through or water cooling tubes. Oh, and here's the 3-pin connector for that rear fan. Knockout for your input-output shield for your motherboard, and I believe 2, 4, 6, 7 expansion slots for a multi-card setup. Next to that, some more honeycomb ventilation and a Kensington lock slot. And beneath that is a bottom-mounted bottom power supply mount. And if we look inside, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there are these slightly raised feet that are also rubber padded, where it helps to reduce vibration and also gives you a little bit better airflow. Now let's move on to this side. It is just a clean side panel. And now at the top of the case, what do you get here? This rather flexible magnetic dust filter. So magnets line around all of the edge. And beneath that, you get mounting points for three 120 millimeter fans or two 140 millimeter fans. And radiator support is up to 360 millimeters or 280 millimeters. So this case actually, for its size, provides you plenty of water cooling potential. So, options. So they've also included these rubber grommets here to help with the vibration when you install your fans and radiator. Oh, and one more thing is that I've noticed that the front of the mesh, not mesh, but ventilation holes also look like the top ones. They kind of resemble crystals. I was thinking like the Final Fantasy crystals. I'm like, oh, na 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 na. But anyway, moving on. On the bottom of the case, we have some raised feet for airflow, as well as some rubber pads here to help with the vibration. And there's another. This is magnetic also, but you gotta pull this out. So the magnets are at these points here, and this is the bottom filter. You know how awesome filters are. And moving right along, on the bottom here is where the power supply sits. You get plenty of ventilation holes, also honeycomb, which is quite a popular cut. And you also get mounting points for two 140 millimeter fans or install a bottom 240 millimeter radiator, but you'll have to remove this cage and the piece that the cage sits on. Now let's take a look at the right side of the case. The side panels come off very easily, smooth enough, which I like, as it can be quite annoying when they just get jammed at the corners. But here is a look at this side. So you get a very large cutout for your aftermarket heatsink, no problems in swapping like new heatsinks in and out. And beneath that you actually get two SSD mounts. So it's toolless, you just remove this piece here, this little bracket piece here, and there are 4 of them, 2 on each of the drives, and you should probably remove this mount first, install your 2.5 inch, and then you pop these plastic pieces in, and then go ahead and screw the drive back onto the back of the motherboard, and you're good to go. And here are the rubber grommets for your cable routing. And I like that these are a little thicker because some of them are like paper mache thin, and then you're like, what's this supposed to do? But anyway, so I like how the cables are all black and they're very clean, zip tied for you. Also, here's the 3-pin connector, 2 of them, for the 2 front 140s. I believe this is a support beam. It's held in by rivets, so I don't think you can remove it, at least not easily. And there's 25 millimeters of space behind the motherboard tray for you to go ahead and organize those cables. And also one more thing is this case is compatible with mini ITX, micro ATX, and ATX motherboards. Alrighty, let's take a look at the interior. So here's another look at the rear 120 AF fan with its, I've already shown the 3-pin connector, so let's move right along. Here's another look at where the power supply sits, these rubber pads and the raised edge that I was talking about. And this is the motherboard tray. They've included black standoffs for you. Usually I'm used to the gold ones, but I suppose black is more stealth. But for me, when building, gold ones are easier to see, especially when I'm trying to line it up and everything. And here's a look at the front panel connectors. This is your 2-pin, did I say 2-pin? I'm so sorry. 20-pin USB 3.0 header, that would have been really hilarious. This is your audio connector, and then we have the power reset and of your LED connectors right here. Very simple, stealthy once again. And up here you have your 2 5¼ inch drive bays. It is a toolless mechanism. However, it might be a good idea to go ahead and secure a screw in there just in case if you're moving this around, like let's say to a gaming event or whatnot. And below that is the included drive cage that houses sleds for installing both 3.5 inch and 2.5 inch drives. So you get 3 of them. And then you also get the 2 for the 2.5 inch drives behind the motherboard tray. And so that makes 5 SSDs that you could mount. So moving right along, well actually I don't need to take all of that out, but here is the plastic support piece for the cage. And I'm gonna go ahead and just remove these 2 screws here. One moment so I can show you how easy it is to just take out this drive tray in case all you're using are SSDs and you're like, I don't need this mounting system, I prefer more airflow or whatnot. So let me go ahead and just slide this right out. It's that easy, folks. And there's also a top mount right here. Just slide this in and then go ahead and screw it into place. So the drive cage can be removed entirely or placed on the top, on the bottom. And if you remove this piece by taking some screws off the bottom here, you'll be able to mount that front radiator or bottom radiator. So, aha, lots and lots of options. And last but not least, of course, is clearance. So for CPU cooler height, you get a clearance of 165 millimeters or 6.4 inches. And if you want to install, like, let's say a really thick cooler, might be a better idea to remove this rear fan, but I'm not sure. You'll have to take a look at that when you build your own system. And also for graphics card clearance, 430 millimeters or 16.9 inches. And as for the power supply, there's one thing I did want to mention is that you can mount the fan facing up or down, depending on your preference. And if you would like multiple cages, let's say you want to buy another one because you just love drives, well then you can go ahead and purchase that separately from Corsair. Here are the accessories that I got in this box, but there might have been a more detailed blowout of the case, like a user guide, because the one I got here, this is a sample case as we normally get them, has the guide, but it's just of the screws. But you know, it could be handy, but like I said, with your version you might get more. And here's the warranty against defects. And in this box, what do we have? Let's see. Is that it? Yes, it is. You have exactly 4 cable ties. Not sure if it refers back to the 450, but still kind of nice. And you also get some long fan screws as well as your other drive screws, and that's it for the accessories. That wraps up the overview on this Corsair Obsidian Series 450D mid-tower computer case. I'm Joanne, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to our Newegg YouTube channel as well as our other YouTube channels. Thanks for watching Newegg TV, and we'll see you next time.